Picture this. The year is 1914, Europe is on the brink of a devastating conflict, and the world as we know it is about to change forever. A web of alliances and rivalries has created a powder keg of tension, waiting for just the right spark to ignite it. The air is thick with uncertainty, the geopolitical climate as volatile as a summer storm. In the midst of this turmoil, the fashion world is a universe apart. It's a realm of lavish spectacle where the grandeur of haute couture reigns supreme. Designers craft intricate gowns that are as much art as they are attire. The rich and famous parade these extravagant creations at opulent balls and high society events, their every movement watched and emulated by those who aspire to be like them. Yet this world of elegance and excess is perched precariously on the edge of the abyss. And then the unthinkable happened. War was declared. World War I was a time of immense change, and the world of fashion was not immune to its effects. As the conflict surged across the globe, societies found themselves in the grip of a new, grim reality. Priorities shifted, resources dwindled, and the economy was irrevocably altered. This societal upheaval inevitably seeped into the fashion industry, drastically reshaping its landscape. Before the war, fashion was a realm of opulence and extravagance, a showcase for the excesses of the upper classes. The designs of the time were decadent, made from luxurious fabrics and adorned with elaborate embellishments. But as the war took hold, such indulgences became untenable. The economy was strained, resources were diverted towards the war effort, and the mood of society was somber. In response, the fashion industry had to adapt. The lavish ensembles of yesteryears gave way to simpler, more practical designs. Materials became less extravagant, with designers favoring sturdy, durable fabrics over the delicate silks and laces of the pre-war period. The silhouettes, too, underwent a transformation. The cinched waists and voluminous skirts that had once been the rage were replaced by straighter, more streamlined forms that allowed for greater mobility. This shift was not merely a matter of practicality, but also a reflection of the changing societal norms. Women who had previously been confined to the domestic sphere were now stepping into roles traditionally occupied by men. They were working in factories, driving ambulances, and serving as nurses on the front lines. The new, more functional fashion echoed their newfound independence and strength. The war also led to the rise of a new breed of designers. These were individuals who understood the changing times and were able to adapt their creations accordingly. They were the ones who led the charge in redefining fashion, in stripping it of its pre-war frivolity and transforming it into a reflection of the world's new reality. As the war raged on, a new kind of fashion began to emerge. This fashion was less about ostentation and more about practicality, a reflection of the world's harsh new reality, and in the process it paved the way for a revolution in the realm of haute couture. In the midst of chaos and hardship, a new form of fashion was born, haute couture. The First World War, a time of turmoil, was paradoxically a period of immense creativity in fashion. With the world in upheaval, designers found themselves tasked with the challenge of adapting to the rapidly changing times, and the results were nothing short of spectacular. Onto haute couture, a term that literally translates to high sewing or high dressmaking. This was not just any fashion, but rather the creation of custom-fitted clothing of the highest quality. Each piece was meticulously handcrafted, with painstaking attention to detail, and was often made for a specific client. But haute couture was not simply a response to the war, it was also a reflection of the societal changes that were taking place. Women were stepping into roles traditionally held by men who were away fighting on the front lines. As such, there was a need for functional yet stylish clothing that could accommodate this new way of life. One designer who rose to the challenge was Coco Chanel. She was a revolutionary in her own right, pioneering the use of simple, comfortable designs made from practical materials like jersey and tricot. Chanel's designs were a stark contrast to the corseted, elaborate styles of the pre-war era, and they resonated with women who sought simplicity and functionality in their clothing. Chanel wasn't alone in her efforts. Designers like Paul Poiret and Madeleine Vionnet also made significant contributions to haute couture during this era. Their designs, while different in style, shared a common thread. They were a response to the changing needs of women during a time of great upheaval. These designers and others saw an opportunity amidst the chaos. They sought to create fashion that was not only beautiful, but also practical and suited to the times, and in doing so, they forever changed the face of fashion. Despite the war, or perhaps because of it, haute couture flourished. This was a testament to the resilience and creativity of designers who dared to defy convention, even in the face of adversity. Their legacy continues to influence the world of fashion to this day. Among these new fashion pioneers, one name stands out: Coco Chanel. This woman was a force to be reckoned with, and her influence on the haute couture scene during the First World War was immeasurable. As the world around her was thrown into turmoil, Chanel saw an opportunity to revolutionize the fashion industry, and she seized it with both hands. Chanel's designs were a stark contrast to the extravagant and impractical styles that were popular before the war. She favored simplicity and practicality, creating designs that reflected the changing societal norms and values. As women took on roles traditionally held by men, Chanel's designs catered to their needs. Her clothes were comfortable, easy to move in, and stylish, a far cry from the restrictive corsets and voluminous skirts of the pre-war era. Some of her most iconic pieces, such as the little black dress and the Chanel suit, were born during this time. The little black dress, with its simple, elegant design, was a stark contrast to the elaborate, colorful gowns that women were accustomed to wearing. It was a symbol of the new modern woman, independent, confident, and unafraid to break from tradition. The Chanel suit, on the other hand, was a nod to the changing role of women in society. With its straight lines and boxy silhouette, it was a far cry from the hourglass shape that was considered desirable at the time. The Chanel suit was practical and comfortable, yet still retained an air of sophistication and elegance. It was a clear message to the world. Women were no longer confined to the home, they were out in the world, making their mark. Coco Chanel was not just a fashion designer. She was a symbol of the new post-war era. Her designs were more than just clothes. They were a statement, a proclamation of the changing times. Chanel understood that fashion was not just about looking good, it was about expressing oneself, about challenging societal norms and pushing boundaries. And that is precisely what she did. She transformed the fashion landscape, and in doing so, transformed the way women saw themselves. Coco Chanel was not just a fashion designer, she was a symbol of the new post-war era. As the war ended, the world was forever changed, and so was the world of fashion. In the aftermath of the First World War, haute couture emerged as a symbol of resilience and innovation. The fashion houses that weathered the storm of conflict, like the indomitable House of Chanel, were able to tap into the changing societal norms and attitudes, crafting designs that resonated with the new era. The rise of haute couture in the early 20th century was more than just a change in style, it was a reflection of the shifting roles and expectations of women in society. As women stepped into roles traditionally held by men during the war, their clothing needed to adapt. The result was a more practical, more streamlined aesthetic that still held on to the elegance and sophistication of pre-war fashion. And it wasn't just about the clothes. Haute couture was a form of self-expression, a way for individuals to assert their identity in a world that was rapidly changing. It gave designers the freedom to experiment and innovate, pushing the boundaries of what was considered acceptable or fashionable. The legacy of haute couture is still evident today. It continues to influence contemporary fashion, with designers regularly drawing inspiration from the past. The spirit of innovation that defined the wartime fashion houses remains a driving force in the industry, with designers constantly pushing the envelope in their quest to redefine style and beauty. The influence of wartime designs can also be seen in the way we understand and interpret fashion. The societal changes of the time were reflected in the clothing, and this interplay between fashion and society continues to be a focal point in contemporary fashion discourse. In essence, haute couture was not just a passing fad. It was a movement that revolutionized the fashion industry, changing the way we think about style and self-expression. It was a testament to the resilience and creativity of designers who were able to adapt and thrive in the face of adversity. Haute couture, born out of the ashes of war, continues to shape the world of fashion to this day. From the trenches to the catwalk, the First World War had a profound impact on the world of fashion. As the world grappled with the grim realities of conflict, the realm of haute couture underwent a dramatic transformation. The war, while devastating, served as a catalyst for creativity, sparking the rise of legendary designers like Coco Chanel, who revolutionized the fashion landscape. This era bore witness to a seismic shift in societal norms and cultural expectations. Women were no longer confined to the home but thrust into the workforce, necessitating functional yet stylish attire. The constraints of wartime scarcity also ushered in an era of resourcefulness and innovation, forever changing the way clothes were designed and produced. And so, the legacy of the First World War lives on. It's not just confined to the pages of history books, but is woven into the very fabric of our clothes. The fashion of today owes much to the resilience, creativity, and spirit of those who lived through this turbulent time.